The rip current is usually when this body of water kind of sucks you in towards the ocean.
You can't fight with the rip current. You can't swim back to the rip current.
He was panicking and he was shocked that he's drowning.
We saw that person is struggling to come back. Like, I was so scared.
There came a massive wave.
I saw this object floating in the water. So I was like, hang on, but that's a body.
Every day across South Africa, brave men and women risk everything when disaster strikes.
From floods to fires, mountains to highways, these are the real stories of survival and courage. I'm Dineo Mphahlele.
And I'm Natar Nadesan.
This is SA Rescue Out Alive, an East Coast radio podcast. Two women lifeguards raised in Durban's northern townships now stand shoulder to shoulder as part of the city's dedicated life-saving crew. Years of training and emergency drills shaped them for this role. But nothing could prepare them for the day they would swim for their lives like never before. Every wave a lifeguard fights tells a story. This is theirs. Durban in summer is electric. As the mercury rises to the upper 30s in Celsius, the heat presses down like an iron across the coastal province of KwaZulu-Natal. You're baking, day and night. Many desperate for some reprieve turn to water to cool down, not just for a drink, but a plunge into what promises to be a temporary escape from the province's punishing summer. The go-to in this vibrant melting pot of culture is the Indian Ocean. Durban's Golden Mile stretches for several kilometers along the shoreline. Hotels, eateries and vendors spill onto a sandy promenade that transforms into a thoroughfare for cyclists and runners, an entertainment spot for families, and a paradise for sand artists whose amazing personalized sculptures could set you back a couple of R100. But as carefree bathers let their hair down in the refreshing surf, across the shimmering sand are a row of watchful eyes scanning the busy waters.
Every morning we put our equipment in our platform. We just went for a swim to check if the rip current is too strong or not strong, and then check our ribs. And then we scan where we're going to open the beach. We check if there are maybe some holes on the side. We always want to keep people in the safe side where there is the sand around, because some people don't know how to swim. Once they can't touch the sand, they think they are drowning. They're panicking. Today, it's a normal swimming day, but we're having a strong current today. As you can see, a lot of white water.
That's Jabulile Ndlovu, a member of the Durban Surf Lifesaving Club. Since 2019, she's been one of the city's guardians of the sea.
I love swimming, I love water. I live at Dozoma. When I was 14 years old, the councillor there opened the pool for us, but I don't know how to swim. And then I joined them. They had a club swimmers. First time when I get in that pool, I wanted to swim in the deep. I almost drowned there. And our supervisors there and lifeguards were working there. So after that, I just asked the pool supervisors that I want to train how to float, how to swim, all those things. And then after that, they told us there's a coach there who's going to train us. And then I just joined the team. 2019, I saw the poster. It was a Tegui municipality. They wanted the female lifeguard. They were going to train them. I just applied there, and then they trained us for the whole year. And after this, we applied to work, and then, here I am now.
And Jabulile is not alone.
I grew up in KwaMashu, G section. I've always loved water since I was a child. I started swimming at a swimming pool. We're always training, going galas and going meet my mile. So that's why I loved water. That's why I love swimming. and started loving life-saving.
Sisanda Mvuyana says growing up in the water led her onto this career path. For her, life-saving is more than a job.
I joined life-saving because I wanted to make difference and I want to save people's lives. I love water because it's where I grew up. I've been swimming since I was a child, so I wanted to experience something new, something different from what I was doing since I was a child. To become a lifeguard, you have to know how to swim. You have to do a training course which requires water rescue, CPR, AED, and first aid.
Together, Jabulile and Sisanda represent a new generation of women lifeguards. They are calm now, cheerful even, but they know that still waters can be deceiving. Jabulile says as lifesavers, they know to leave nothing to chance.
We do our routine every day in the morning when it starts our shift. We're going to check our equipment, we're going to check the oxygen, if it's full or empty, check our boats, torpedo, box line, spinal board, and rescue tube board. We're taking all those things to the beach because this is our equipment we're using at North Beach.
It was on this crowded beach, Durban's North Beach, that Sisanda would go through a true baptism of fire for her very first sea rescue. It's Saturday, the 17th of December in 2022, the day after a public holiday, and North Beach is alive with bathers. Beach towels and cooler boxes dot the sand in a riot of colour. Laughter rises and waves crash, blending in harmony as the perfect track for summer. As temperatures push into the high 20s, the weather feels ideal. It's not too hot, thanks to patchy clouds drifting in the sky. But Sisanda knows that on days like this, she and her team of lifeguards need to be extra vigilant. She routinely scans the shore and the bobbing bathers in the surf, again and again. For a while, everything is as it should be. And then, something changes.
It was a low tide, getting in a high tide. So the beach was packed by children and people. When the tide changes, we always try to move the bathing area to the safer side. It was getting a high tide. The waves were rising. There came a massive wave that dragged people out to the pier.
About 100 bathers are caught up in a powerful rip current. A sharp blast from a whistle launches Sisanda and her team into action.
We were sitting there by the platform. We saw people being washed by the currents. We took our torpedo, we took every equipment that we had, took our rescue boards, and we got into the water.
Within seconds, backup arrives.
It was plus 20 rescuers that were there, because people from Bay of Plenty, lifeguards from Wet Beach were involved. They tried to pick up people and save them. They put them into the boats, and it was hectic.
Sisanda spots a child struggling. She races to him.
There were many people that was drunk. I saved a drunk person, and I saved a kid that was drowning. He was about 9 to 10 years old. The kid was shocked, and we're trying to make a conversation so he can stay calm and to not let him panic. I was telling him to relax and hold the torpedo boy, because I'm here, we're going to get out of the water. Then we swim. I told him to stand here and to breathe in and out just so he can bring his energy, because he was panicking and he was shocked that he's drowning. I got him out of the water, and then I jumped back into the water to save others. So there was other two that was stuck there by the PM. I tried to pull them out of the PM and move them to the rescue board. And we tried to push them out of the water and do the CPR with them, put oxygen to bring back their lives.
Lifeguards dive in, pulling victim after victim back to shore. Dozens are saved that day. But for Sisanda, the weight of that fateful afternoon only hits later.
We tried to save a lot of people, and we did a CPR, take others to the hospitals, but unfortunately, 3 people died. I was traumatized because it was my first rescue that I did. It was my first time doing rescue in that condition. And it became so massive like this, so I didn't expect it to be like that. I was traumatized by that. Our club did try to call us to talk with counselors about how we felt about that rescue. But I get back into myself because it's things that happens.
As Sisanda says, 3 people tragically lost their lives that day, a week before Christmas. One of them was a child. The mass rescue also made global headlines and was widely reported to have been a freak-wave event. Daya Sudith from Lifesaving South Africa later spoke to East Coast Radio's Newswatch and broke down how a rip current is formed.
Rip currents are very common all along our coastline. They happen all of a sudden, and unfortunately this often happens when you have sandbanks that form in a particular way overnight or early in the morning. A sandbank could either collapse or a sandbank could shift, and that could actually enable the formation of a rip current. And a rip current is usually when this body of water kind of sucks you in towards the ocean. And that's how we view this particular phenomenon to have happened.
The thought of how many more lives might have been lost is what keeps Sisanda doing what she does. Her colleague Jabulile's training and courage would also be put to the ultimate test. The lifeguards whistle. To beachgoers or those swimming at public pools, it's a familiar sound. But as Jabulile explains, it can also confuse bathers from time to time. When her whistle cuts through the air, some people look for signs of danger. There are others, however, who simply ignore the warning or don't know what to do.
Sometimes we see people are drifting to the danger side. We just go fast to blow the whistle to tell them to move to the safe area. And sometimes they don't understand anything about the whistle. But some they do, sometimes others they ask, why are you blowing the whistle, guys? And we must tell them, yo, guys, you are moving to the danger side. We just want you to move to the safe side for you guys. When you move to this side, there's a rip current, the horse is going to pull this side. So we blow the whistle to keep you in the safe side.
Few would have guessed that a young girl from Durban's Ntuzuma township, introduced to the pool at the age of 14, would dive into a world of competitive swimming and training. Jabulile tells us that each stroke and length she did laid the foundation for a journey that would eventually place her in an 8-strong life-saving squad, guarding one of South Africa's busiest coastlines.
During the week we train, we have to be fit. On weekends, I came to the beach to volunteer.
Even when she's off the clock, Jabulile's drawn back to the water. Whether by habit or choice, she's always on guard, mindful that the ocean never takes a day off. It's October 2024, spring in South Africa. Jabulile and the Durban life-saving crew are scanning the waters of Bay Beach. The school holidays have just wrapped up, and the 4th term is well underway. But that doesn't stop a stream of regular beachgoers from fanning out along the shoreline. Ordinarily, they'd keep a close watch from the lifeguard stand. But Jabulile says the team spent the better part of this day urging people to stay in the designated swimming zone.
We just keep people in the shallow water where there's a sandbank. And some people, I can swim, I know how to swim, and they just go further out to sea. And they try to come back, they can't come back because the rip current is very strong this side. There's a strong rip sucking them inside the sea. You can't fight with the rip current, you can't swim back to the rip currents.
That's when she spotted someone drifting further away from shore. As soon as Jabulile realizes the man is in trouble, she bolts into action.
We saw that person is struggling to come back. And as I was walking to this side, blowing the whistle, and I saw the chick waving hands up and down. So I took out my jacket and I took the torpedo and I just swim straight to that person. I just swim fast. I don't know how did I get there so fast. And I told that person to hold the torpedo. Now he's not going to drown. I'm here to help him. And the rip current was very strong. Even me, I was so scared because the rip current was very strong this side. And I did think about what happened on 2019 when I was on this side. Sometimes I get scared.
The incident Jabulile is referring to in 2019 was a mass rescue. She wasn't there at the time, but says hearing about how powerful the rip current was left her shaken. That memory came rushing back when she felt the current tug at her during this rescue. She had to fight to keep calm.
When I was there to rescue that person, that thing just came back on my mind, said that the current is very strong. It's sucking you straight to the pier. That's why I was thinking, that's what happened to 2019. The rip current is very strong here. Even me too, I'm a little bit struggling that side to get out, but I did get out.
The battle playing out in Jabulile's mind was real. As thoughts came crashing like a storm, she knew right there and then that nothing else mattered, except the life in front of her.
I just keep calm, and I told the person to keep calm there in the water. And we got some signs we can communicate as lifeguard. I just waved, and the other lifeguard came with a boat because the rip current is very strong this side. It's pushing us straight to the pier. They came with a boat. Then we told the person to get in the boat. He was holding the torpedo and getting the boat, and he was trying to get in the boat with the torpedo. I told him to leave the torpedo. Nothing's going to happen to him now. And the rip current was very strong. My other colleague was there to help me. We did manage to do that rescue very well, perfectly.
It's easy to understand why she needed to steady her nerves. This was Jabulile's first rescue. Some might wonder why it took her so long, even though she qualified back in 2019. For Jabulile and every lifeguard, that's not really the point.
We always build ourselves to prevent the rescues. Even that time when I went to do the rescue, I was trying to prevent the rescue, and then it happened. And after last year, even did the second one. It was April, we say.
As lifeguards, Jabulile and Sisanda say they too carry the grief of loss after a drowning. They are thankful for the support available to them to help process the trauma.
Yeah, it is quite heavy. My first time I saw people dead in the water, I feel so sad. I couldn't even sleep at night thinking about that person. 2 days I didn't sleep thinking about seeing the person dead in the water. I feel bad. It was hectic to me to see someone dead.
It was very painful. It hurts a lot. It hurts. But I won't say I blame myself because we can't save everyone, We tried to save others. Unfortunately, we couldn't help them all. But it hurts a lot. It hurts. But I tried to cope with it and try to move on. The counseling really helped me.
The dedication of lifeguards like Jabulile and Sisanda to protecting strangers is unwavering. But like the discovery of treasures hidden beneath the tide, heroism often rises from the most unexpected places.
I realized at that moment everything sort of freezes around you, and I just threw my rod and I didn't even think about it. It was more of muscle memory.
On Wednesday, the 9th of July, 2025, Cameron Alexander was fishing at Baggies Beach in Amanzimtoti. It's a popular holiday spot south of Durban and a well-loved destination for families. Cameron had just moved to KwaZulu-Natal.
My fiance and I decided we're going to go to the beach and try out some fishing. Being from Gauteng, we've never had the opportunity to, walk along the coastline and, enjoy the beach with a fishing rod and our little puppy. And she actually went home, and I said, you know what, I'm going to stay and I'll wait a while and see maybe I catch something and just try my luck.
It was that decision that was to make all the difference.
I was just casting a line out, and the next thing I saw this object floating in the water, and I looked fast because I was like, hang on, but that's a body.
The 9-year-old boy was lying face down in the water. There was no time to think. Cameron dove in.
At that moment, everything sort of freezes around you, and I just threw my rod, and I didn't even think about it. It was more of muscle memory than anything else, and the main priority was to get him out the water. And I picked him up and, walked out the water, and immediately I put him on his side.
As luck would have it, Cameron knew exactly what to do. He placed the child into the recovery position. It turned out he had first aid and emergency responder training.
Being in the first responder industry, the main thing is to get the airways open. So I didn't want to do any chest compressions or anything, being such a small little boy. I put him on his side and, I started tapping him on his back to get the water out, and that's when he, started getting all the water and, it was foaming. So we immediately called bystanders to contact emergency personnel in the meantime, and I'm just really grateful that the lifeguards on the beach were so fast and efficient at what they do. It made a massive difference having professionals on scene.
That we Cameron refers to includes 20-year-old local Summer Cousins. A quiet walk with her dog on the beach was interrupted by an ear-splitting sound of panic.
There was children screaming, and then obviously none of us knew what was going on. Cameron was fishing on the shoreline, and then seeing the kids screaming, ran in, saw something. We both got the boy, grabbed him out. Cameron put him in the recovery position. I just phoned police, lifeguards, anybody I could. And then we just waited for the lifeguards to arrive, and once they did, Cameron went up with them. There was actually 2 other kids, the ones that were screaming originally, I stayed with, trying to figure out where their parents were and who they were with and what was going on, and eventually got the parents coming down. And then we just went up, all waited there, the ambulance came, took the little boy away.
Both Cameron and Summer were recognized for their bravery by the Durban Surf Lifesaving Club. They were awarded drowning prevention letters of appreciation. For Cameron, the experience was life-changing. He says it taught him the importance of knowing how to respond in an emergency.
Definitely, it's not something that you want to, actually use one day, because you never really want to see people in that sort of situation where they need it. But it's definitely crucial to have that and know that you're capable of doing it, because you never know when you could save someone's life.
Years after those daring rescues, Jabulile and Sisanda reflect on how far they've come and look ahead beyond the lifeguard stand. Like the ebb and flow of the ocean, working as a lifesaver on the beach is only part of the story for Sisanda. She hopes to one day earn her stripes as a police search and rescue official.
Since I'm doing life-saving, if I get an opportunity, I would like to get into it. Because I'm living in a township, so there's a lot of danger. So I think maybe I want to end that.
For Jabulile, the ocean feels like home. She says watching over the beaches is in her blood and dreams of turning this passion into a full-time career.
I love being a lifeguard. I love being around water, and I'll always love to make sure people are safe. And in future, I want to be permanent as a lifeguard. For now, I'm not permanent. I'm a seasonal lifeguard. Feels like this is my life work.
Our coastlines are safer thanks to Sisanda, Jabulile and all the guardians of the sea who stand watch where land meets water, ready when the moment calls.
This podcast series, produced by the East Coast Radio Newswatch team, is dedicated to the men and women who risk everything to save lives.
To hear more of their stories, subscribe to SA Rescue Out Alive at ecr.co.za under podcasts or wherever you get your favorite podcasts.